So I almost just got robbed. Welcome to Rome, fabulous people. Now I will get back to that story at the end of this video because I believe that this is something that you should definitely be aware of if you plan on traveling to Italy. And right now, let's discuss how safe is Rome in 2023. Today we will talk about pickpocketing, things to know before you travel to Rome, tourist traps and scams in Rome, and of course, some important safe to travel tips. Now, before we begin, please remember to smack that like button. And if you're new to my channel and my vibe, and the vibe of this channel resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe. All right, fabulous people, now let's begin. Let's begin this Rome travel guide by discussing where to stay in Rome and what are some of the areas in Rome that are considered to be safe. Now, let me start by saying that if you are staying in Centro Storico, or what's considered to be the very heart of Rome, the historic center, most of the time you will be safe. But of course, there are some areas that are considered a little bit safer than the others. All right, the first area is of course Spanish Steps, Piazza del Popolo area. Those areas, which they're pretty much the same area, they're very close to each other, but around that area, you will not only have the most central and posh location, but also one of the safest locations in Rome. So if you're wondering what is the most central, the most posh, fancy, and safest area in Rome, in my opinion, it is Spanish Steps and Piazza del Popolo. Now, a second area that is also considered very safe is Prati. Prati is very safe residential area. It is not as central as Spanish Steps or Piazza del Popolo, but still you're in a very close proximity to pretty much everything. And if you are traveling as a large family or as a large group of people, Prati can be a very good option for you because their apartments tend to be a bit bigger, just because you're not in a true heart of Rome in a sense of the Centro Storico. So you will be able to find a bigger place there a lot of times. And of course, the third one is Piazza Navona and Pantheon. They're a little bit two different areas, but also very central and very safe. Now, one area of Rome that I do recommend to avoid at night is the Termini station area. And if you are staying around Termini, I recommend to just avoid walking around in the evening time or at night. Now, I am walking right now around Termini. Hi, Mom. But you have to understand, I am a local, so I know which streets to take, which not to take. But if you're coming to Rome and you're staying around this area, make sure that you are taking a cab to your place, to a hotel or Airbnb, or you just not coming out during the evening time because it's just not the safest area. All right, guys, the second thing that I want to discuss is purses or bags. Now, it is very important when you go to a restaurant, to a bar, or to a cafe, make sure that you are not leaving your purses in the spaces where you cannot see them. So don't put them on the floor, don't put them behind you. You have to make sure that you always see your purse. And of course, you can put it right in front of you. And you can also ask for a chair for your purse, which is not as common in Italy, only because the spaces are very limited. So my solution that I found that actually been working so perfectly is I got this thing that you can attach pretty much to any bar stand or a table, and then you can hang your purse on it, and it's just such a great and easy hack, and it just helps me to make sure that my purse is always visible when I'm at a restaurant or a bar or anywhere else. Now, the second thing that is very important for you guys to keep in mind when it comes to purses is if you're walking along the street, be it Via del Corso or any other busy street in Rome, make sure that your purse is not on the side of a traffic, because it would be very easy for someone in a car or on a motorcycle to just grab it from you and leave. And unfortunately, this kind of things did happen in Rome and in obviously other cities in Italy, and the person a lot of time would really hurt themselves because they would try to run after the purse, or they would just be dragged for a long time because the purse would be attached to that person's hand or shoulder. So you can really injure yourself. Now, it does not happen often. Of course, I'm talking about very rare, extreme cases, but you have to be aware of that because obviously you don't want to be one of those cases. My third safety travel tip for Italy has to do with your appearance. If you are traveling to Italy, I would personally try to avoid bringing expensive jewelry with you. Also, I would avoid wearing too much of a revealing clothes or any clothes that would attract a lot of attention. And I would also try to avoid walking around with cameras around your neck or anything that would scream, "I'm a tourist," because there are literally professional thieves that are looking for this kind of signs. They're looking for something that stands out as a tourist, and then you just become a way easier target for them. So that is why in all of my videos, what to wear in fall in Italy, or what to wear in spring in Italy, or what to wear in summer in Italy, etc., I always explain to you guys and I give you tips on how to dress more like an Italian and stand out less in a crowd. So I will of course make sure that those videos will pop here, or I will of course leave them in the description down below. Now, if you do decide to rent a car in Rome, which you guys know I always advise against, but if you do decide to do that, make sure, and I mean it guys, make sure to leave 0 things in that car. So as soon as you leave the car, take everything with you. The next thing that you should definitely avoid is an interaction of any sort on the streets or in train stations. And what I mean by that, if someone comes up to you and offers you a rose, a bottle of water, to help you with something, to give you a bracelet, a friendship bracelet, don't even get me started on those, you guys have to keep on walking without acknowledging those people. Don't say thank you, don't say no thank you, don't answer their questions. I mean it guys. All of those things are scams to get money out of you, obviously, and I do go into great details on that subject in my video on things to know before you travel to Rome. So of course I will make sure again that it will pop somewhere here, and of course I will leave it for you in the description down below. But if anyone approaches you on the street, make sure you are not acknowledging them, just keep walking. And that also includes fake petition scams, and I see them more and more frequently happening in Rome, where someone would be standing on the street and approaching you to sign a petition. Of course, it's a fake petition, and they will be asking for a donation. So make sure if someone approaches you, no matter who that is, on the street, don't acknowledge them, just keep on walking. All right guys, now let's talk about ATM machines. If I were you, I would not be trying to get money out of the ATM machines that are attached to a store or to a kiosk outside, or those standalone ATMs. I would only use ATMs attached to a bank, or better yet, inside the bank. And guys, please make sure that you are not taking out too much cash. There's honestly no need for it, because in Italy most of the times you can pay with your credit card or debit card pretty much for everything. So please make sure that you are not taking too much cash, and if you do, you're only doing so at the bank ATMs. Now finally, let's talk about public transportation in Rome, and I'm going to be mainly referring to buses and metro. On the popular routes, let's say to Vatican museums or Colosseum, you will find a lot of pickpocketing going on. Yes, it is true, especially during busy seasons. So that is something that you absolutely need to be aware of. And in addition to that, Termini station, guys, I cannot stress this enough. Termini station, unfortunately, is filled with pickpockets because what happens is people arrive to Termini station by trains from all over Italy. In addition to that, you have tourists, of course, that are arriving from different airports to the Termini station. So it's kind of that central point for so many tourists who are arriving to Rome. And this way, of course, unfortunately, you become subject to pickpocketing. And if I can give you any tips, guys, is make sure when you are inside the metro station, and if you have a purse or if you have a backpack, make sure that it is always right in front of you. And you do hold it with both hands, and your eyes are always on the zipper the entire time. But one specific moment that you guys have to be especially aware of is the moment when your train arrives and the entire crowd, because remember, you are at the Termini station, so it will always be crowded, and the entire crowd rushes inside the wagon. And that is the moment when pickpockets are going to try to open your purse or your backpack. So you have to be extremely careful and aware of your belongings during those moments. And that is exactly what happened to me. I was waiting for a train to arrive, and I had a feeling, guys, you know, that kind of intuition. I could tell there were 3 to 4 women kind of looking at other passengers, and you could tell that they weren't really trying to get somewhere. And as soon as the train arrived and the entire crowd just rushed inside the wagon, and of course I went with them, but I was extremely aware because I just had this gut feeling. I felt that one of those women started to pull on the zipper of my purse. And of course, as soon as I saw that, I pulled the purse away from her and she ran away. It was crazy, guys. Of course, this is honestly the first time it ever happened to me in Rome. So I went back, found them, and filmed them for you. So please, guys, be very careful. So guys, if you do decide to take a public transportation in Rome, make sure that you're always, and I mean you're always aware of where you are, who you're surrounded by, and the most important, your belongings. Keep your eyes always on the zippers. Make sure that everything you have is always in front of you so you can see it at all times. And especially when you're going to be exiting or entering, be it a train, be it a bus, any form of public transportation, make sure that during those moments you pay especially very close attention. All right, guys, and finally, a few other very important travel tips to know before you travel to Rome is number one, make sure that you never put your phone inside your back pocket. Let me tell you guys, I am guilty of that. I cannot tell you how many times I would put it inside the back pocket of my jeans, and a lot of Italians actually stop me and say, don't do that. The second thing is cash. Please make sure to not carry a lot of cash with you. There is honestly no need for it, and I know I mentioned that previously, but I just want to make sure that you guys remember to not carry a lot of cash on you. The third thing is make sure that you have copies of your passport or any important documents. Even if something happens, it is much easier to get a new passport if you have a copy of the old one. So just make sure that you have it somewhere, be it in a printed version or maybe just a picture on your phone, but you need to do that, guys, okay? It's very important. And number four, I think four, let's call it number four, is make sure, guys, that you are leaving at least one credit card or a debit card inside of your hotel or Airbnb, just in case your purse gets stolen, or just in case your credit cards or debit card gets stolen. At least you have one extra inside your place so you can use it in case of an emergency. And finally, guys, I'm going to leave you this important phone numbers that you need to know prior to your traveling to Italy. And of course, I will make sure to leave them for you in the description down below so you always have them on you. All right, fabulous people, this is it. I truly hope that you found this Rome travel tips useful and beneficial. And before you go and start packing for Rome, please remember to smack that like button. And if you're new to my channel and my vibe, and the vibe of this channel resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe, and I truly hope to see you all in my next video.